Uh, I don't know. If someone does something worthy of a mech bay, then you know what? Yeah, because these people tuned in. They tuned in and they get a mech bay for showing up even if the team doesn't. I'm not going to penalize them for whatever TCAF does.
Alrighty then. Get the trivia set up soon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we might as well hand out one now. We've got like 30 people sitting there waiting for something to happen, so.
Okay, let's.
And, let's see. Besides that match, though, where I definitely agree that your lights just didn't do what they needed to do. That was definitely a light scouting problem. But the
Oh,
other
don't
two
worry. They got
matches, you
the
guys
ration.
played really pretty well, especially that last one. I don't really know what they were doing on that last one, but you guys were clearly you guys knew what you wanted to do with that firing line, and you executed well.
Yeah, and just a little insight onto what's happening. On the third match, we selected our side. Obviously, we selected the top side. We feel that has the best advantage. And it's tough fighting from down below in Delta 2 up to Bravo 4. They can see our every move except for behind the Citadel. Yeah, yeah. The movement in the first two matches, we were spawning low side. Obviously, seeing anything from Citadel up to the top is not as good as seeing from Citadel or seeing from airport down. I mean, the first match we did spawn down. We did kind of do what we wanted to do. There was a little, we were time pressured pretty much because the caps were, I think, at one point 3-1 in favor of AS, and we just had to make a move. And we decided to make a move quicker than usual, and our move pretty much was kind of trapped. I wouldn't say trapped, but we kind of moved them to where they or where we wanted them to be. Kind of exploited that. The second match, we obviously faltered. We just stood near our spawn, didn't get scouting out. And just for information, scouting is key. Make sure if you ever have a team or thinking of building up a team, make sure you have a great scout on your roster. Very invaluable. Anyway, so then obviously that happened. Debacle, I guess. And third match, we had a top spawn. We knew what we were doing. We knew the angles, and that was the advantageous spawn.
Yeah, and it definitely worked out. I have drawn the third match on map tactic, and basically 228 just camped the airfield. They spread out down towards Charlie 4 later in the match to get a better firing line. AS just sort of balled up in Bravo 2, which I initially thought was going to be ready for a push, but then they sort of split out. Like a couple of guys went out here to trade in Park. Lone Direwolf crossed the way and just got wrecked going across. Like one person came with him. The balance of their force still sitting in Bravo 2. Don't really know what happened there at the end, but 228 definitely didn't make any mistakes there, and the damage numbers on that last round showed a
Yeah,
convincing
I was wondering
victory.
about that lone direwolf. I scouted. I go, "There's a direwolf going across." He goes, "People were asking, is there any more?" And we're like, "No, it's just one." We're like, what the hell?
Yeah, seriously, like I would imagine that that's what was, it's sort of like that CSJ Mercstar match where like I see Sace run out there in the Firestarter. I'm like, wait, why are you going out there to kill yourself? And then seconds later, I see a Hellbringer, Leroy Jenkins, out into the middle of Delta 3. Like, no, stop. What are you doing? This is like a pug move. Don't do that. But it happens to the best of us. Sometimes we overextend, we cross a lip that we can't get back across, and that's the game.
I think if AS did push that section altogether, because I know they had a couple of heavies still back in Bravo too. So if they pushed all of them rather than just kept some back near that little broken bridge and also in Garden, they probably could have taken the top. Although I think we already had a lot of damage at that point, we probably could have defended it. Although it would have been more casualties than just.
I mean, I definitely think that was like their only play there because they were clearly getting out traded. and I think you guys are just a better trading team. I don't think it. I don't know. Some people will say, well, you don't want to change up your strategy to, accommodate your opponent. But on the other hand, it's like, well, do you really want to fight a trading war with CSJ? No, you don't. No, you don't. If your usual, strategy is trading, maybe you do just want to take the loss and try to get better. But, if you're looking to win, chances are you're going to need to throw them out of their comfort zone. And I think AS just wanted, tried to play the trading game, which really isn't their forte. Not that they're bad at it, but certainly not what they're known for. I really did think they were going to stack up along that ridge and push you guys off, especially because you had so many guys in Charlie 4 at that point that I think they could have taken the top rather easily, even with the damage that they'd taken. But they just sort of hung out. Except that direwolf. That direwolf was going for it.
Yeah, he's like, I don't care what you guys are saying, I'm going. But the thing was, we had not as much firepower or mobility on top. Most of our heavies were split between the let me see what color you want me in. The bright pink does. Anyway, so we had like most of our guys were around here, are pretty much our heavies and assaults. Then we had mediums and heavies also down here. And then our lights were kind of just all over the place, just scouting info, taking pokes. But if they push up the top, it's hard to reinforce this area right here where I drew the X. Hard to reinforce the area going uphill. And especially we're down here already having our firing angles, because if we approach, the only way to go uphill is go all the way around here. I don't know how to. Yeah, well, anyway, you see the weird dotted line I drew, that was horrible. Then that's one approach to go up, but it takes a while and you lose your firing line. You have to reset up and much can only look towards here. The dropship and buildings are kind of blocking anything long range, so the movement can't be seen as much unless your lights catch it. The other way to reinforce it is if you go up this little ramp up here, but then you're already prone to the covering fire from over here. We had a few angles that way, so.
Yeah, it was definitely a good fight in 228. Really played the firing line right. And, looks like good news. They are apparently ready. I see Mod Complex in lobby, so I'm gonna type him in for spectator tool. And just watch when he drops. I don't really see any of the other people I would expect to see. To be perfectly honest, like, my friends list is way too deserted to believe this match is happening, but you know what? It says
it's happening!
Well, in the meantime, I mean, how do two incredibly brawly teams approach River City? I mean, I don't really see the outside of the map being used much, like the corners down by Cap and Epsilon. I feel like we're gonna see River Rush, Park Rush, around Citadel Rush. I have a very hard time believing either of these teams is gonna sit still.
They're going to have to really they're probably going to use a lot of mobility, especially with brawl comps. I know the 3-3-3-3, we're not going to see as much of a brawl comp because it's tough to get 3 assaults into a fast brawl comp. Could run gargoyles. I mean, you could also run fast banshees with XLs, but it's kind of crippled and kind of against what they do. Obviously, if they take gargoyles, they're 20 tons under on the assaults, where you can take direwolves or stalkers. They're pretty much the assault go-tos right now.
You know, you say that, but I don't think these teams care about speed. I gotta be perfectly honest, I expect Atlases. That's it. I mean, for drop two, the skirmish one, 720 tons, I do expect pretty much nothing slower than a Timberwolf. But for this first drop, I think they're just gonna go with Atlases. I think we're just gonna see nothing but SRMs. Maybe not, but both of
Well, if
these
they
teams
do,
love to brawl. Huygens for the lights on TCAF. I'm calling it right now. It's gonna happen.
I don't know. RA has kind of diversified their portfolio with rushing. I would expect gargoyles. I wouldn't be surprised if I see gargoyles somewhere around here.
I would love to see
But
gargoyles. I gotta be honest.
manhandle the mangoyles right there.
Ooh, yes. How out of like 24 players do I only have one of these people on my?
They kind of threw everyone together. Like, oh, we have a match. Okay, let's do it.
I sort of feel like that's how it went. Where RA was like, "Listen, you guys are gonna forfeit if we don't play soon," and they were like, "Okay, we'll just whoever's there, just round up all of the drunk Russians and get them in their brawling mechs and let's go." I hope that's how this went down. I really do.
It's just tough. I mean, whoever picked the top side is going to have a lot of view and a lot of and knowing where they're going to come from. But if they're both brawl teams, even though you see them, you can kind of dictate where the engagement will happen. But again, you're all going to be in the face of each other. You're not going to worry about firing lines too much. I'd be surprised if any brawl happened in the water, but I'm expecting something similar to Pug Q, kind of like around the Citadel, East Side Citadel, Delta 4, Charlie 4. That's where I would like to brawl, if anything.
That is the most likely scenario in my opinion. It'll be there, probably 60% there, 30% it may end up in like Charlie 2, somewhere around there instead. But the 10% that I'm really hoping for is River Rush. It's my favorite thing to do in any pug game. Just go straight up the river, slam into whoever's left, kill everybody.
That would be a fun match to watch.
Alright, their lobby is full. They will be dropping soon. So I'm just watching Mod Complex.
Yay!
For those that are just kind of, I don't know who's just joining us at this point, but it is Restless Adder versus Tikonov Commonality Armed Forces. First drop is going to be Conquest. 3 lights, 3 mediums, 3 heavies, 3 assaults. Both of these teams notorious for brawling like crazy, so this should be a really good fight to watch. Still haven't launched yet. So
Nope, they're still in lobby. For those of you watching, we will have a mech bait giveaway after this game, so make sure your Google Foo is up to par. It will be BattleTech related.
ooh, Ed's doing trivia. That's solid right there. That's how these giveaways should be done. I'm just always too lazy and scattered to do it the right way.
Yeah, when you're the solo caster, it's tough to give away mech bays and you're like have 500 things going at once.
Pretty much. I mean, I did try to do trivia one time earlier this weekend, I think, or maybe it was Thursday, and I asked for when Outreach HPG was founded to the day. I was like, whatever, somebody will Google that, and then I'll Google that and give it to the right person. I couldn't find it. I had no clue. I moderate this up, don't have any clue. So really glad that nobody answered that, and I just had to give it away in chat, make you fight over it.
Just post it up there, and just people just try to cut and paste it as fast as they can.
Pretty much. I mean, whatever. Caffey Angst is #1 in a code paster, I guess. But he didn't get it that time, so gotta get back on
That was
top.
an upset.
I know, right? I would have given him 2-1 odds on that.
Maybe TCAP is doing this on purpose. No, I'm just thinking they wanted to psych RA out because RA seemed to come in prepared. They were like ready and willing, and then TCAP's like, "Oh, we'll just come on in and be half an hour late." Blah blah blah.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really don't like it when teams do this, because this is, a whole team of RAs waiting. Us casters are sitting here just babbling for like a half hour waiting for something to happen. But whatever. Shit happens, and it's not a big deal. It's just a video game. But if it was intentional,
what?
that is such a scummy psych out.
But you telling me this is a video game? What's going on? I thought this was real life.
I'm worried now. Mod Complex is not in lobby. I'm worried. Look at other players on their roster. Now I'm worried that they're in match and this guy is not. Oh my god.
Yeah, he got out of lobby.
Yeah, so, alright. Teams and rosters. Dude, if we miss this first match, god. Okay, Restless Adder. Sir Pseudonymous, Stubar, Capsta. I don't know. They're having lobby problems, okay. This is not... I'm gonna double check with Mod Complex to make sure that he's gonna be in all the drops today so I can feel safe just watching him and not other people. Well, I guess since we got nothing else to talk about, what do you think about the new River City modifications that they're gonna do?
I haven't really reviewed them, but I do hope they don't include those damn statues they've had in there forever and they finally took them out.
Oh god,
And
those are the kind of things that I don't think PGI really appreciates about just how big of a deal some of that kind of stuff is. Those statues down there, oh my god, the worst. Just the literal worst. Here you are, 100-ton war machine that could crush whatever underfoot, and these stupid statues at City Hall are the things that are killing you. God.
Statues are OP.
Remember
Oof.
the HPG manifolds pillars there for a while?
Yes, those were OP as well.
Oh god.
No, I do hope when they do expand the map that they get rid of a lot of invisible walls. That's one thing that was killing me, because a lot of times when you're watching a match, when you want to be excited about it, you want to see awesome shots or stuff that comes out of nowhere. If you have a building that's really good with the hitbox, and you have space in between, I don't know, a gate or something in between arch or whatever that you want to fire like an AC-20 shot and just like get someone's leg or something. You know, those are really exciting things to watch, and I do hope when they do make that new pass that they'll have stuff like that, because you know any FPS you'll want to see these insane shots like how did he see them, and then when you put it into like the 60 FPS, well I think they're launched by the way.
Oh, yep, they launched.
Yep. Enough talking. Kind of spectate.
Finally. Alright, I don't know how this in-game overlay is gonna work out. We're just gonna hope that it's not a totally horrible distraction. I'm just gonna leave it up. Alright, so let's figure out... Okay, it looks like Restless Adder's gonna be up top in red, and down by us is gonna be Tikonov Commonality. I see Huygens. I was right. Boom!
There's a king crab in there.
Dude,
Wow.
they are so brawly, you don't even know. I mean, TCAF's dedication to this brawl is going to be massive, and I think RA is willing to play that game. So, as you'd expect, 3 Huygens, 2 Atlas DDCs, a Banshee, 3 Stormcrows, and what, 2 Timberwolves, 3 Timberwolves. They're paused right now, and so I assume that means waiting for a reconnect. Wow, this map is terrible for that. And over here for Restless Adder, it's going to be the more traditional setup of fire starters, Stormcrows, Timberwolves, and 2 DDCs, and a Crab instead of 2 DDCs and a Banshee. So, full brawl from both of these teams. Looking at the Timberwolves, and I sure as hell see a lot of missile pods. It's just going to be SRMs, SRMs, and more SRMs. What about the Crows? What are they? Laser Vomit.
Some of these Stormcrows are small pulse lasers, SRM 6 for RA. This one's all SRM 6. They're definitely going full op brawl. One's a Street Crow.
I like some of these paint jobs. They're not uniform paint jobs, but I like these. We need to figure out who wins that for the tournament. I actually have to go back and review or have all the teams send in something. 'Cause that's a pretty good prize. It's like 2,000 MC per player.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go.
All right. Well, TCAF moving in. Huygens just going straight up the river. I think they're going for the quick cap. Fire starters for RA moving to the point on Upper City. Or maybe not. Just diving right in. Yeah, they're going to go chase those Huygens around. Ooh, I wonder if the Huygens are going to get caught by the fire starters. RA moving into the park right now. This is going to be a straight up brawl.
God, I don't think anyone has any range here.
No, none. I mean, look at this dense pack from TCAF. Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
Here we go. All right,
Clash.
I'm going to get out on Max Best in his Atlas DDC.
RA has a better position here. TCAF just stuck against that broken bridge.
Yep. And sure enough, first kill. An Atlas goes down for TCAF. Wow. This is messy.
Uh-oh, we got to shut down Timberwolf over here at 70%. Deadhat's not having a good day. He's surrounded right now.
Oh no, don't switch into a player. I just want to see health. Alright, so 5 dead, 6 dead for TCAF, 4 dead for RA, 1 at 17, 11%! My god! How is that Timberwolf alive?
Oh, down he goes. RA's having a field day right now. They got him in the position that they wanted.
And RA, I think, is going to take this fight pretty handily. Max Best in that Atlas DDC legged. He's going to go down soon, and it's just going to be those 2 Stormcrows. Ooh, Sir Pseudonymous and that Crab not having a good time. He made it out. A really messy brawl, but RA takes it.
That skull and Zudikai's camo.
I know, I really like Zudikai's Timberwolf camo. The first round goes to Restless Adder. Damage numbers, it's not seeming too much different. You know, a couple players on each team got caught with not very much damage. A few really pulled out some good numbers. I think that really the difference was right in the beginning of the fight where TCAF got all trapped back in that corner and didn't have a good line to spread out, whereas RA could really just sort of pour into the city and sort of surround them a little bit, do a better job swarming.
Well, they also knew where they were coming, so they knew how to approach it much faster than TCAP did. TCAP was blocked by buildings. You can still see a little bit, but you're going to have to put yourself out there a little bit and kind of like make the enemy team know where you are. I think they wanted to try to have cover and maybe go to Upper City first, but RA decided to, before they even got to Upper City, to kind of trap them in that little section underneath the bridge. That just made a horrible, horrible hold for staff.
All right, let's recap this on map tactic. I'm gonna make sure I'm watching mod complex here. They're in lobby already, so quick. Next drop, of course, is going to be Kermit 720.
Before we do that, it's trivia time. Guys,
Oh,
watching. Wait, but I will announce it in Twitch chat because I know we're on a 5-minute delay.
That's a good plan. What are you asking?
I'm gonna ask it just to be fair in Twitch chat. Second, yeah, just keep going. I'll just type it in chat.
Sounds like a plan.
Let that go.
So, RA up here. Basically, sort of just what I was expecting from these teams. Just stay poured straight into Park and through Park. TCAF went up this far right side or far left side and then sort of spilled out. And I think that this was one of the big problems with the way they approached this. They really needed like a multifaceted. They also need to go up this road, maybe have a couple of guys out here ready to go. I just think they got a little bit too bunched up back here and couldn't get the fire where they needed it, as well as RA, who really did a good job of pretty much spreading out into this entire Charlie 2 sector. And they didn't have too many mechs wandering off from the pack either. They were mostly all in view from each other. I think they just had the little better focus fire, because looking at damage numbers, it's hardly any different. And that's what you're going to see here. I don't think you're going to see any game where the losing team doesn't get 6 kills. It's going to be all brawls. And it's all going to come down to that minutia in combat.
Yeah, one thing I noticed too, the Hugans were kind of down in the water, so they weren't exactly where the engagement was with all the heavies. So they were a little bit behind. Usually those Hugans should be supporting their heavy mechs because they don't really have range at all, and they can't really dogfight any kind of light with those SERMs. They have to focus on heavies. So I think in that regard, RA did a good job keeping the Hugans out of the fight by sticking their fire starters on them.
Yeah, I'm looking at the replay and it's just as messy on here. It's really hard to tell exactly how it all went down, but yeah, it looks like those Hugans were a little late to the fight, and that TCAV never really broke out of that corner the way they needed to. Because breaking out towards Park is just sort of an exposed spot. You're better off in the city nestled between some of those buildings and trying to sort of head out past there into Park. That's where you get out there with no cover.
Don't mind me sketching a little bit here, Bill. I'll put it in yellow. But I think TCAP should have done is possibly, if they were in a good position, is go up here. Then even if RA decides to go this way, RA will also have mechs up here. They'll have a nice tiny firing line, even though some are stuck on the armpit going up. they will have some sort of defense versus this rush, because coming up these little cliffs right here will require jump jets. Not every one of RA's mechs had jump jets. The Stormcrows were a big part of their brawl comp, so the Stormcrows wouldn't be able to go up there. Oh, he just dropped again. Okay, yep. Here we go.
However, I do agree that having some mechs up there to provide Overwatch is just big. You know, having Overwatch mechs in any game, it's a really big deal, and it does make the difference. So it looks like we just got off. Started here. Wait a minute. Make sure the overlay's right. Yes. Okay. So I believe, yeah, TCAF took the high spot. RA regrouping behind Citadel now. Looking at these drop decks, so very many Stormcrows. All Stormcrows and Timberwolves from RA. Nothing else. Not a single other mech. Just 3 Timberwolves, 9 Stormcrows. And from TCAF, you see the Hugins back. 4 Hugins. This is their traditional, their deck. And then all Timberwolves. So nothing but Hugins and Timberwolves versus nothing but Timberwolves and Stormcrows. This is going to be a hell of a match. I think they're paused, so there must have been a disconnect or something like that. Thank you to all teams for doing this right and not forcing a redrop when this seems to happen every round. What the hell was popping? So I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm cycling through all of the mechs just to get a look at, is there a single mech that doesn't have SRMs? So far, the answer is no.
Artillery strike.
The answer is no. It's, oh. Small pulse lasers and a Gauss rifle on one of the Stormcrows. That's it. That's the only mech. And player just reconnected. I think we're gonna probably be back in play.
Yep. Back in play.
Restless Adder cycling around Citadel. Trivia. Really? Just asked a hard one. I didn't see it. TCAF going straight across water. Are they going to circle? Yep, they're going to circle around to the right of Citadel. So we got a little bit of NASCAR going on. Traditional mech warrior. And RA, not. I think RA is going to catch TCAF's tail first. There is a UAV up, and I think TCAF is going to know this is coming. We'll find out though. Let's get it on a Dragon and that lead Timberwolf.
I actually like TCAF's position here better. They're able to get in front of the spear much quicker.
They've definitely got the better line. They got a great line going on right now. Dragon in this lead Timberwolf down to 38%. And he goes down. Lots of UAVs up, and once again we're in the middle of a hugely messy brawl. Who is winning this right now? 2 down for TCAF, 1 down for RA, 2 down for RA, more wounded mechs for RA, but 3 down for TCAF. Stubar down to 50% for RA. That's a pretty good looking Timberwolf right now. That's not too weak.
I'm not even going to begin to call this. This is back and forth.
Yeah, this is crazy, and the extra names on screen don't help. Oh wow, 6-5. This is a close match. Looks like RA is getting the slightly better end of this, but it's anybody's. Oh no, TCAF getting the slightly better end of this.
So much damage right now, especially with everything left.
So now it's just the last 4 on the last 3. This is coming down to the wire. Oh, this Hugins just vicious. TCAF's Hugins doing just so much work here. Last Timberwolf for RA. And this series is going to go to 3.
Caps at 23%. He's taking like a boss. Finally goes down.
Absolutely one hell of a brawl, but the damage numbers tell a much different story than the first match for sure.
Look at the Hugins, man.
The Hugins, I'm telling you, man, they commit to those Hugins, and every time I've seen them get those Hugins into the range where they can do what they need to do, they just tear shit up. Teams tend to like to ignore them and focus on the bigger targets. I gotta be honest, I think it's a mistake. I think you're worse off leaving a Hugin alive than you know, one of those storm crows. I mean, they just piss missiles and machine guns. So much DPS. You see 3 players for RA got caught below 100, and I think those were 3 of the first players in there. Definitely Dragon was that lead Timberwolf. I think the TCAF, that UAV that told them they were coming, they got spread out, they made a good firing line, and they really had some good focus fire on those first couple of mechs. So it's all tied up 1-1. Going into the final match of this elimination series. I do not want to accept a public group invite right now. That does not sound.
Like, we do have a winner for our trivia. It took him a while. It was Dreox Suil, if I'm pronouncing that right, actually got the answer. It's Black Ocean. So the question was, what's the nickname of the unit that Takashi Kurita made his cousin form? Now, people are looking, what's going on? Who's Takashi's cousin? Well, Takashi's cousin's Yorinaga Kurita, and then even more so, you're gonna have to find out which regiment he formed, which was the unit, which was the Genyosha unit, and their nickname is Black Ocean. So congratulations to Drax Suil. We're gonna be getting a private message with your mech bay code. Congratulations.
That was a good question. I gotta say, that's not for the faint of heart right there.
Nope, Google Fu needs to be strong. I was warning people.
Well, drawing the match here, and basically this is how it went down. TCAF here in blue came down from Park, wrapped around Citadel. They popped the UAV where this blue X is. RA in the meantime wrapping around. TCAF realized that RA was going to catch their tail before they were going to loop around, so they just sort of spread out right here, made a firing line, and I think they did the better job focusing down maybe the first couple of mechs there, and that was really the big difference in that it was an incredibly close fight the entire time. TCAF was just up by 1 mech almost the whole
It was
series.
back and forth. There's really tough to make sense out of a big brawl like that. They were just 2 teams just going at it.
I mean, that is the hard part about these kind of games. Even though they're fun to watch, they're really hard to cast because it's like, what the hell's going on? I don't know. They're shooting at each other with missiles. Lots and lots of missiles.
Missiles and lasers. Oh my.
Pretty much. I mean, man, how do you call that kind of stuff? Especially, it's kind of hard because really, I just want at the top of the list like the team name, because I'm always looking like which team is which. Whatever. I hear spec client improvements are coming. I also hear that it's going to be like available for everybody in terms of every private lobby is just going to get a couple of slots so that you can just go in there and spectate games. Maybe that'll even open up like a new game mode where you know, each team gets a commander, so to speak, that can sort of like cheat for them. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Any spectator tool improvements? Oh, please, PGI. Although I will say that that's, you know, super low on the priority list considering that that's not exactly like I'm gonna get a quick drink. I will be back in like 30 seconds. They drop, no worries.
Yeah, they're still lobby, so.
Alright, I am back. I've got a message from Mod Complex. They're ready for match 3, so get underway. This is going to be back to Conquest 3333. Should probably update the overlay. Looks like they launched, so let's hop in now. Since RA lost the last round, they will get the choice of spawns, and, you know, as pretty much every team does, it will probably pick the upper spawn.
Notice the upper team has won so far. Whoever chose the upper team.
Pretty much. It is a big advantage, I can't deny. Sure enough, TCAF down here in blue, and Restless Adder up there in red. Cataphract 4X. Is that a Docafract? I gotta know. I'm gonna have to jump in on that. Again, though, Huygens, Atlas, Timberwolf, Stormcrow, mostly Brawl. Gotta see what that 4X is, though. That is too weird. Again, fire starters for RA, swinging out Parkside, taking a look.
5s, 2 Ultra 5s.
Nice. So that's serious Daka build with a slow XL engine. That's interesting choice for fire support right there. RA being really aggressive, taking the inside lane in Park, almost just going straight up river. Some of them actually just going straight up river. They're not messing around here. TCAF seemingly happy with their position behind Citadel. They're basically ready to receive the corner push here. Let's see how this happens. First Stormcrow around takes a lot of damage. Look at that, down to 80% from Fresh right away. Probably mostly in the torso or CT. Let's check in on Operator JB and see where that damage did go. Really concentrated in the torso. RA is sort of stuck back here at the moment. They're seeing what they want to do, and they are forcing their way into the middle. They are not going around that corner push. I don't know that TCAF's ready for this. All their mechs are facing the wrong way now. Oh, man.
Those Huggins are going to get the rear end of this push right here.
Oh, man. If RA had just gone in, all in, they would have, I think they might have had this, but now they've given TCAF enough time to adapt and set up.
And that's the...
Yep, and TCAF is now shifted over. They are ready to receive. Fire starters all up top, ready to sort of poke or just dive right into the knife fight. And here comes RA, straight out of the gate. They're rushing in. Atlas is up front to tank as much damage as they can. They're going to have to cover a lot of ground, I will say that. This is an interesting play by TCAF, not their usual strategy at all.
Not at all. They're going to be focusing a lot more on the front mechs, but actually they're kind of just all around.
Yeah, this is all over the place already. You got that Stormcrow leg, the Operator JB, that weak Stormcrow from right at the beginning, and it's tied 1-1. Divine Evil for TCAF, down at 48% into Huygen, and he goes down. 3 down for Restless Adder, 2 more quick to follow. Looks like Restless Adder is not going to come out of this looking good. Their damage numbers are going down quickly. 6 down for RA. Again, Restless Adder in red, TCAF in blue. Yep, and sure enough, just 3 fire starters and a really wounded Timberwolf left. 14% and he's gone. It's just the fire starters. TCAF is going to take this series.
Fire stars left unless they clutch it. Doesn't look like it.
I don't
Cataphract
think
4X is still at 92%.
especially against a 94% Atlas, a 93% Timberwolf, 93% Stormcrow. Lots of fresh mechs there. I think that was a hugely unexpected changeup from TCAF, and it paid off in spades.
I really like TCAF's change of strategy because the first 2 matches, Ari was expecting just full-on face-on-face-on rush. Then TCAF changes it up in the 3rd match and kind of like dares him to come forward.
I mean, it was ballsy, and I really appreciated it. You know, after having casted a lot of their games now and having seen nothing but brawl, it was really refreshing to see a ranged mix where they said, you know what? We're going to play this behind Citadel strategy. We're going to make him come to us and take a bunch of damage on the way in. And they executed nicely. The Banshee was a great choice. The Cataphract 4X, I'll bet, ended up doing quite a bit of damage here. Yes, Cataphract 4X, look at that. Look at that. 600 damage from some slow XL heavy. That's the way to use a fire support mech right there.
If I were RA, I would have gotten better scouting before committing to that push. There seems to be something weird when you have a brawling team just sitting back. So if you're gonna have to be a little bit more cautious, because you notice RA just kind of gathered up all the way behind and then they kind of stopped. But they didn't really do any scouting per se. They were just waiting to gather together. While that's happening, your lights should be poking around and finding out what's going on. Why are they waiting to rush? If you found that TCAF went for a longer range push, and you have slow ass mechs like that Cataphract 4X, might want to turn into a cap game for a little bit and then worry about the push later on when they do have to make a move.
I think you're definitely right that a little bit of scouting would have been pretty well served there, because whereas initially they would have pushed right into their back and had a field day of it, they took so long getting formed up there that TCAF shifted all the way back to the other side, back to the other harbor, essentially. They really needed to, go around Citadel or get up on Citadel and drop off or something. They just took too much damage closing that distance there. Still, though, great effort by both teams. Great series. Congratulations to TCAF. They will be moving on. Let's check the bracket right now, shall we?
So I'm throwing out there. I think I might want to put RA for Sportsmanship Award for waiting for them for more than half an hour.
Yeah, I gotta give that to them. Huge shout out to RA for putting up with that and just letting it happen and being a good sport about it. Timing stuff is always really difficult on these sort of things, and everybody appreciates it. So thank you guys. You were great sports and you played great. So let's take a look at this bracket. So TCAF will advance over Restless Adder, and next week they will fight number 6th ranked Mercstar Axis of Ignorance, who is coming off a loss to CSJ this week. Honestly, sort of a similar loss to CSJ on, I believe, the final round for Mercstar, where CSJ basically just backpedaled towards the other side of Harbor and kept the range game, and Mercstar, well, granted, Mercstar didn't charge, and they had a couple of other problems. They had a disconnector too, so that was no fun. A lot of parallels there. Well, I guess let's do a quick recap on that game. You want to give away that other mech bay?
I already did.
Oh, perfect. Wow.
I did it in between. I just waited for the Twitch to be in a pause. I asked. Where is it? I asked who manufactured the mech that was only redesigned after Vulture schematics were taken from raids into clan territory. People had the mech right off the bat. They said Bushwhacker, but that's not what I asked. I asked for the manufacturer of the mech, and people are. I'm just sitting here going, read the question, and then Bandit B17 finally gets it correct. So he got a mech bay in his inbox on Twitch chat. So congratulations, Bandit B17. Your Google foo is strong, sir.
Very nice. Well, this match was definitely an interesting one. TCAF set up this interesting little sort of arc defense right here. Really put some good fire on that first Stormcrow that turned the corner right there. And that's when RA, I think, was like, nah, let's not go that way. Let's go the other way. And so RA snaked up to behind Citadel. Initially, they were thinking about pushing that way. They doubled back, gathered here, and this is where it took too long. TCAF was still facing the wrong way for a good 15-30 seconds while RA gathered up, but then finally one of the Hugans threw up a UAV and they got turned around. Basically, they just flipped the arc the other way, turned around, and then just started backing up a little bit. And sure enough, RA tumbled out from behind Citadel. They took just too much damage going in. I just think they lost too many mechs. When you're a brawl, you have to have that approach perfect. The approach on the brawl is what matters. You cannot take damage to a non-brawling team when you're not in range. So, really well played by TCAF. Very unexpected.
I do want to throw in something here, though. And if those of you who noticed in the match, the RA Atlases did 55 damage combined. That's only from one Atlas. The other Atlas did 0 damage. That just tells you the difference in the expected gameplay of TCAF. TCAF switched to a mid-range game and tried to lure them in, but they sacrificed map control. And this is where I'm going to draw right here. See, at this point where RA was waiting right here, put in pink, TCAF was waiting like right there. Why isn't the pink drawing? There it goes. At this point, when you look at how much map control that TCAF has, they essentially have this little line right here. So if you look at what the game mode is, it's Conquest. RA at this point can take 1 or 2 lights and just wait. Then cap these points here. Let me put that, I don't know what to put in. White. Send the lights to cap here, Kappa. And then at all the heavies can just rest at Theta. They'll be on 3 caps to 2. If they scouted the long mid-range mechs right away, they would know that. They would know that they have a brawl comp and they're ready and covered behind Citadel. So TCAF would either have to back up off of Citadel or be forced into a rush engagement, which they will lose. And at that point, like our game 2 from 228 versus AS, it's a matter of scouting. A lot of people underestimate scouting so much, whether it be mech positions, mech loadouts, all these little bits of information matter. And, if I were RA at that point during that map, I would have said, you know what, let's back off a little bit. Let's use the Citadel for cover. Let's send our light mechs to go cap, and let's make TCAF make the first move. Because at that point, they have to lose map control in order to either push, get out of that position they're stuck in, or get forced into a brawl, which might be too little too late, especially since the timer is only 10 minutes.
I definitely think it's a great observation that, in a skirmish game where Restless Adder is down 1, they'd have to push into that crappy position, but ultimately they just pushed a disadvantageous fight when, Ed's right. They controlled over half the map and they controlled the caps. And if they'd been a little more patient and forced TCAF to come out, it would have worked out better for them. I think that, there's a good possibility their scouts didn't even take a look at what mechs they were running. They just sort of assumed they're going to be brawly. It's just what it always is. And if that's what happened, it's definitely a mistake. Scouting is... Your scouts, honestly, in my opinion, are the most important to your competitive team. If you don't have good information coming in and you don't have lights that know what they're doing and can, distract the enemy from behind, cap points when they need to, get out before they die, that, especially because lights are such a scary thing to be in. One shot and your leg is gone. So those lights got to do their job. I definitely think that you're right about that. They could have just sat on Theta and had the advantage there.
The other thing I wanted to point out too, that this map, although there's a lot of cover, actually deceptively long range. Most of our engagements happen the 400 to 500 range, versus, or even at some instances longer, at 700, 800. So taking just one type of mech, one type of deck, going to be the death of you in this, especially if your style and RA likes to brawl. If your style is against what the map is about, then that's really tough to fight against.
Yeah, I mean, the river definitely puts quite a bit of distance in between teams, and an effective kiting team can really do their run around. I mean, sure, there are a couple of brawling approaches, like the solid block from D4 to B4. You can move a brawling team through there and not take too many hits, but getting across, between like the 4 line and the 2 line, you're going to take shots from any sort of trading team. So when you go with a full brawl deck, again, the approach is everything. If you don't have an approach where you're not taking a ton of damage, it's just not going to go well.
Yeah, let me just also explain this on the map tactic. Right where RA started to push, where that was a bad yellow circle, but where that yellow circle is to where the pink or magenta X is going to be around 600 meters. And all the small lasers and SRMs in the world cannot even come close to a team that can focus fire down. And excuse me. Anyway, you can see with the Atlases doing only 55 damage combined. They're 2 Atlases. That's 200 tons of mechs almost doing nothing. They have to have some sort of approach with maybe a longer range if they're going to do some kind of thing. But TCAF lured them in perfectly and used that range to their advantage.
Yep, it was a great play by TCAF. Totally unexpected. When I saw that 4X right off the bat, I thought to myself, what is this? This does not look like TCAF, and sure enough, they changed it up just enough to make it work. Well, I guess the other 2 matches that are happening today, first one is going to start in about 40 minutes. That's going to be casted by me and Carpenter, and that's going to be CI versus MM. It's Comstar Regulars versus Marine Mechs. Yeah, and then, so that's 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and then at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll have the final match of the week, which is going to be between my own QQ Mercs and Eisengram. So stay tuned for both of those for sure.
You see that little promotional video that Eisen made?
Yes, Eisen's awesome with their promotional videos. I also like their paint scheme. I gotta say, they're definitely perhaps in the lead for the paint scheme contest. Maybe it's because I'm really bad at noticing them on other teams, but they got dedication. I like that. They have fun with it. Yeah, the other 2 matches also going to be on River City. Same set of rules, same everything. So, yeah. Anything else to say?
Just congratulations to TCAF, Restless Adder, also because they're such great sports. I honestly wouldn't have had the same patience that they did. They waited 40 minutes for the first drop. 40 minutes. That's a very long time. In most of the other rule sets, like in Run Hot or Die or Merrick Civil War, now dead, defunct Merrick Civil War, it was a 15-minute buffer between the time and the time for your first drop. So they might have been, or Restless Adder might have been up 1-0 already by the time TCAF came in. But anyway, regardless, Restless Adder did give everyone a show, and I wanted to say I would throw my vote in for them being sportsmanship team of whatever you put as a category.
Yeah, the sportsmanship award for sure, and I really appreciate what they've done here. So thank you guys, and know that you are totally in the running for that. 2,000 MC each. Woo!
A lot of MC.
Oh yeah. So I guess that's gonna do it for now. I'm gonna cut the stream off for like 5 minutes before I restart it, just to like sit there and play music before Comstar Regulars versus Marine Mech starts. So that's gonna do it. Again, big shout out to Farp Noodle for this awesome overlay stuff. I will figure it out, and I will get this to a point where it's, looking pretty professional, and we're not doing any of this, half and half sketchy stuff with the map anymore and all that. Big shout out to Ed for being here and helping me with this cast. So much nicer to cast with somebody else, especially when you have a 40-minute wait time at the start.
Yeah, 40 minutes to fill in talk is quite interesting to say the
Yeah, it's
least.
like that's the kind of thing where you're just like, fuck it, I'll read the dictionary. I got nothing. Um, so yeah, and then the usual suspects. Tina, thank you for having all the things set up and getting everything advertised, and getting PGI's financial support and all that. Thank you to PGI for your financial support and giving me spec tool access and giving all of us spec tool access when we requested. It's really nice to have an easy way to do that. Yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that for now. Oh, yeah, and panic button for being Mr. Integrity, because I was wrong, and I admit it, and thank you. So, yeah, that's going to do it for now. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you all in about a half hour.